Success. Everyone dreams of it. Everyone strives for it. But not everyone achieves it. Success can mean different things to different people. As we pause to celebrate 25 years of Aboitizland, we ask ourselves, how do we measure success? Aboitizland was founded in 1994, with humble beginnings in a small office and a vision of creating quality, innovative properties for the Cebu market. And our very first residential development, Northtown Homes, a master-planned community now touted as Cebu's most prestigious address. Our very first industrial development, West Cebu Industrial Park in Balamban, a sprawling 268-hectare industrial estate ideal for medium to heavy industries such as shipbuilding and allied activities that helped create thousands of jobs for the residents of Balamban and transformed it from a fourth-class to a first-class municipality. Our first commercial development, the outlets at Pueblo Verde, the first outdoor outlet mall in Cebu, offering exciting new shopping and dining experiences. Emboldened by the success of these pioneering developments, Aboitizland ventured forth into bigger and more ambitious projects, spreading its footprint in Cebu and beyond. Aboitizland in 2019 has grown by leaps and bounds since our first inception. Our workforce has grown exponentially, and so has our business. Thousands of hectares of land have been transformed into innovative, deliberately planned, and purposely designed residential, commercial, and industrial communities that elevate the living experience. And with our growth come the rewards, not only in revenue, but also in things far more valuable, like the number of people whose lives we have touched and changed for the better, our vecinos. Aboitizland takes this further with various programs designed to give Filipinos a chance to create better ways to live for themselves, ensuring that our developments positively impact our neighbors and our surrounding ecosystem, advancing the communities that host us as we advance our business. No matter how we quantify 25 years of achievements, it is what we have yet to do that holds the most promise for Aboitizland. More strategic partnerships to be forged, more fully integrated townships to be built, more industrial parks that fortify businesses and create opportunities, more commercial centers that elevate lifestyles, and more residential communities where individuals and families will live, love, and grow. Aboitizland. After 25 years, one thing is clear. We've only just begun. As we cherish our glorious past and celebrate today's victories, we forge ahead into an exciting future.
reliable property developer with over 25 years of experience. Backed by a century of heritage. Aboitizland has a proven track record in enhancing the value of land. That means your investment in its residential lots are in capable hands. Booming infrastructure developments leading into emerging urban hotspots. An economic recovery on the horizon. Unbeatable deals and discounts. All signs point to one thing, that the time to grow your investment is today. Invest in residential lots in one of Aboitizland's master planned communities. Because opportunity waits for no one. It's time to grow with Aboitizland.
Where am I? Welcome, Dante. Let me show you around. To open an account, they go to the bank para lang mag-fill out ng form. Please, write legibly. To transfer funds naman.
Wait po. Teka.
Thank you. Next.
Let's go deeper.
I need to pay my bills. I need to pay my bills. Enroll nyo muna mga billers nyo.
What? With my UB Online, no need to enroll to pay my bills.
Huh?
Pwedeng free yung fund transfer and one valid ID lang, naka-open na ako ng account via app. Sorry, I don't belong here.
A reliable property developer with over 25 years of experience. Backed by a century of heritage. Aboitizland has a proven track record in enhancing the value of land. That means your investment in its residential lots are in capable hands. Booming infrastructure developments leading into emerging urban hotspots. An economic recovery on the horizon. Unbeatable deals and discounts. All signs point to one thing, that the time to grow your investment is today. Invest in residential lots in one of Aboitizland's master planned communities. Because opportunity waits for no one. It's time to grow with Aboitizland.
Welcome, Dante. Let me show you around. To open an account, they go to the bank para lang mag-fill out ng form. Please, write legibly.
To transfer funds naman.
Wait po. Teka.
Thank you. Next.
Let's go deeper.
I need to pay my bills. I need to pay my bills.
Enroll nyo muna mga billers nyo.
What? With my UB Online, no need to enroll to pay my bills. Pwedeng free yung fund transfer and one valid ID lang, naka-open na ako ng account via app. Sorry, I don't belong here.
For all you dreamers, fortune seekers, travelers, and adventurers. For all of you who search for better opportunities, who chase a brighter future in distant lands to provide for your family's needs. For all of you who dream of retiring in comfort in your home country, of having your own place in the sun, of giving your family the good life they deserve. For all our overseas Filipino workers, fulfill your dreams now with Aboitizland. We are a part of the Aboitis Group, one of the country's strongest corporations. For over 2 decades, Aboitizland has nurtured the dreams of thousands of overseas Filipinos. With our more than 25 thriving, masterfully designed communities. From Cebu to Nueva Ecija, from the hills to the beaches, from townhomes to vacation homes, from dreams to reality. We at Aboitizland bring your dreams to life with homes and communities made for life. For all you who travel the world in search of your dreams, find them all right here, right now, here at Aboitizland.
of you. Allow me to thank all of you for joining us here this morning on Facebook Live. My name is RJ Ledesma. Very honored to be your host for this morning's activity, and welcome to Time to Grow, Aboitizland's webcast in partnership with our good friends, Unionbank. Now, I'm actually watching us live right now on the Facebook live stream, and thank you so much to everybody joining us both from Manila and from Cebu. So those from joining us here from Manila, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And for those joining us from Cebu, maayong aga sa inyong tanan. Do drop us a greeting right now at the comment section, and please let us know where you are watching from. And also, if you're watching us live right now, you'll see a question popping up here on your screen asking you, what do you think is the general outlook of the economy? Is it positive or negative? Please answer. We would love to know your sentiments and address them later on during our panel discussion. Now, I'm sure that all of you have heard this several times in the past year and a half already. And you all know that our economy took a big blow during this pandemic, and it continues to take its punches, our economy. Now, you or your business may have been directly hit, or if you are lucky, your business might have been spared, or maybe you were a bit more resilient. So you pivoted your businesses, and now you are thriving and surviving during these times. Now, even though we've been in this situation for quite some time now, I realize that there are some lingering questions in our heads. The biggest of which is this one: when will this pandemic end? Will we still be able to go back to our old way of life pre-pandemic? And one of the biggest questions in our head is this one: when will our economy recover from the effects of this pandemic? Do you continue to ask yourself that question as well? I'm looking right now at the chat box. Please let me know, are you thinking the same thing? Have you asked yourself the same question here as well? Let me go to the chat box here right now. Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. We've got friends from the Philippines watching us right now. Jerome Ferrolino, Africa Amabel, watching from Fairview, and all the way from Seattle, Erica LDV. Thanks so much for watching us. Have you been asking yourself that question? When will the economy recover? And can we go back to our old style of life, our old way of life? I've asked those questions many, many times during this pandemic, and will continue to ask myself that question as we continue to recover as well. Now, many of us might not have the direct answer to these questions, but tell you what, during this discussion, we will take an in-depth look at our economy in the coming months, and also how this will affect the real estate industry, or maybe even the businesses or industries where you are involved in. Now, the question you might be asking yourself right now is this one: why are we focusing on real estate? Because surprisingly enough, it is one of the industries that has bounced back the fastest during this pandemic. And I'm not saying this only as your host, but also as the host of Philippine Realty TV on CNN Philippines, and also as a board governor of the Subdivision and Housing Development Association. In fact, there are many properties in select areas that are thriving. If you want to find out what those areas are, please stay in our discussion. With that, we have invited two resource speakers who will share with us this morning their expertise, their insight, and their knowledge on these topics to give us a better outlook of the economy and also zooming in real estate. It will be truly an insightful show. So I invite all of you, please relax, take a comfortable seat, get out your pen or paper or your laptop, prepare that cup of coffee with you, and listen in on our panel discussion. At the same time, if you've got any questions for our speakers, please put your questions in our chat box right below. At the same time, if you are interested to invest in any of the Aboitizland properties, please also put your questions in our chat box. Our representatives from Aboitizland are ready to listen to you. If you find also our topic here this morning very interesting or beneficial to your friends, family, or colleagues, please share this Facebook Live presentation. So again, please share this broadcast and also like Aboitizland's Facebook page, Aboitizland Inc. With that, let's get the ball rolling for this morning. Let's welcome our first speaker. He is an economist with experience in macroeconomic analysis and surveillance of Asian economies, covering macroeconomic, business, and financial market issues. As an economist for the Unionbank of the Philippines, he leads macroeconomic research covering the Philippines, other relevant economies, and financial markets. Before joining Unionbank in 2016, He was a research economist and consultant for the Macroeconomics Research Division of the Asian Development Bank. His research interests include macroeconomics, forecasting, development economics and policy, monetary policy, and financial markets. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Union Bank's Chief Economist, Mr. Carlo Asuncion. Carlo, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, RJ, for the introduction. My objective this morning is to paint a picture of where we think the economy is at and what are the opportunities, because there are always opportunities, and particularly what are the opportunities in real estate as we see the economy recovers. So let's get on with this. We start off with a better than expected GDP last quarter, second quarter 2021. We did expect, or the survey, or at least the consensus expected 10.9%, but 11.8% came out. And one good thing to point out is that there was a improvement. Although we can say that based on quarter and quarter, it's still a challenge. But because we know that the economy has somewhat reopened in the second quarter, and some parts, some months, we have seen where the economy has started to, or businesses have started to open. We've seen an uptick, and we know that comparing it to last year, where we got a negative 17% growth, of course, we would expect a positive one this last quarter. For the supply side, we saw that manufacturing and construction did contribute much to the economy's improvement last quarter. So pretty much both of these sectors actually contributed, like 3.9% for manufacturing, and construction at 1.7%. And year on year, they are actually at double digit growth. No? And if you notice, even real estate did pick up at 16.7% year on year. And in terms of unemployment, as you know, one of the things that you look at in an economy, if you're looking at an economy and trying to study it, is you look at where employment is at. And as of the moment, the latest data shows us that at unemployment rate is at 7.7%, steady. Back in March, it did decline at 7.1, because that actually was when much of the reopening of the economy has happened. And then we know that April come ECQ again, and then we know that again both May and June and July the economy was much more open, and we know that in August we did have an ECQ, and now we're at MECQ. No, but the point of this slide is that if you can see, we still have a lot to recoup in terms of the employment we have pre-pandemic. It's around at 2 million full-time employment. And then we also on the right chart, lower right chart here, is that there has been a growth of part-time employment. And I think if you look at it, it's really showing how people can be resilient, just really finding opportunities for themselves to earn for the families, even if opportunities are very scarce. And I think for me that's how it looks like, at least for the labor market. It's a challenge. I'm not downplaying any challenges, but we see the resilience that's being shown by the labor market. We know that even if we had a better than expected 2Q growth, again, I think I made mention about the ECQ that we've had, and it does somehow cloud recovery prospects in the second half, because we did expect a more robust second half of 2021, and I think this is not just the Philippines. This is actually very much even in advanced countries. A lot of analysts and economists are actually pricing this in their forecasts. So we do are also pricing it in, no? So, but we know that cases have been rising, but at least for the recent Octa observation that they came out, that in terms of the growth of infections that actually slowed down, and somehow the recent ECQ has worked its way. No? So here in this chart, I just wanted to show how, because we do have essentials and non-essentials. No, you've seen here in both charts, the gray line, those are basically your essential spending. No, and we do have also discretionary, like travel and all those things that you can do without. And we see that it is actually correlated with both retail and grocery and pharmacy mobility. So, but in 2Q, there was a change, a shift in channel, and I want to point that out. Probably it's because of the shift to digital, and we'll talk more about that later as well. No? We did talk about vaccination. The good news is that the Philippines is, quickly improving. How would I say this? Previously, this slide here, actually, this one points out that herd immunity, which is about 70% of the population fully vaccinated, will be reached at March 2022. The government is actually going after the end of this year, but this particular website that actually says that it's going to be a March 2022. So, but initially, let me tell you that this one is actually at September 2023. But I just wanted to point out that in terms of vaccination daily, we did actually increased the intensity, and in fact, there are numbers saying that about 50% have already been either vaccinated, fully vaccinated, or had their first jab here in the NCR. So that's very critical for at least bringing back confidence of both consumers and businesses, of course. So that's one thing to point out in this slide. Just wanted to share this work that we've done with AEV. We call this the shape of the recovery. We were trying to track when will we come back, or what was RJ saying, are we there yet, or when will this end? No, in terms of returning to pre-pandemic GDP level. It's just GDP level, not the way of life, nor the way things were. It may actually happen the fourth quarter of 2022. So, but this particular scenario building that we did does not yet include the Delta variant. So we might actually be moving it backward to the first quarter or the first half of 2023. So I think that's pretty logical at this point with the Delta variant risk. No? So this is what we actually spent, or what was the cost of the pandemic in 2020, because there are a lot of questions whether the fiscal situation of the Philippines or the government is steady or stable, or are we in a bad place? No, we just wanted to show this. This is how much was the loss in revenues in 2020 and the additional sources of funds that we actually financed at 709 billion. So what's the point is that with these two charts are from the IMF actually, and the red dot here on the left chart is the Philippines. It is basically charting how much of the budget was adjusted, in terms of what is being spent, and then what was on or what you call the x-axis. This is the y-axis, and on the x-axis is where economic growth is. So supposedly, the more you spend, the less decline of your economy is, or at least because you're supporting the real economy through fiscal stimulus or funding or support from government. As we see here, advanced economies are the blue ones, and the emerging markets are the green ones. Pretty much, we were in terms of emerging markets, where unfortunately our growth has been really deep, in terms of the decline. So, but in terms of spending, probably we could have spent more, but again, government is saying that's going to be a long run. This is going to be the long. We're trying to prepare for the long haul. That's what they're saying, and then we cannot spend a lot at a certain point in time. So, but still, in terms of what the IMF is saying with its what do you call this evaluation of the Philippines, that there was a modest fiscal stimulus, but we could do more, and support the economy. And can we actually do more? That's the question. And the question, I think, also in your minds is that can we afford the debt that we are piling in? Here, this is outlining to you interest payments, what we do pay on at least every month for our utang or debt, and in terms of the revenues that we get and the expenditures. If you notice, it's actually on a decline compared to other regimes, or eras of both probably the Noynoy Aquino, or the GMAs, or the Estradas of the world. So you can actually see here, of course, the 2022 revenues in terms of interest payments have actually increased, meaning, because of the pandemic, revenues were actually impacted, because businesses were closed and a lot of businesses were closed. So you cannot collect revenues the way you would pre-pandemic. So, but we were in a how would you say, we were in a worse place previously. So I think that's the point of this particular slide. In terms of average interest, weighted average interest rate that we have in our portfolio, debt portfolio, that is, actually has reduced from 2015 of 5.2% to 4.2% in 2020. So things are not actually that well. I don't want to downplay the things that have happened, but there is some flicker of hope. That's what they're saying. And in terms of is there fiscal space, the IMF has mentioned there is. In terms of the countries that we are ranked together with, our debt to GDP ratio, meaning how much of our debt is equivalent to our GDP. That's about, right now, it's about 60.4%. And the countries that are ranked with us, according to the IMF, we would say that the red flag would be at 80%. So we still have space. That's what they're saying. And this chart here on the left is saying that in terms of the debt to GDP ratio, well, we can land in either one of those colors, but it's actually not going up, but rather declining. So there is some fiscal space that we can work with, and we could do more to help the economy. Again, in terms of consensus, PH growth, how a lot of the think tanks and the outfits and the multilaterals have put the Philippines, well, the government itself has actually revised its growth goals for this year, 4 to 5%. So initially it was a 6 to 7%. So medyo malaki yung decline, no, na binaba nila. So we were actually initially at 4%, Unionbank, our view for this 2021. But with the recent 11.8% that came out, we actually open close parenthesis upgraded our forecast, because to 4.9 from 4.4% previously, and we are now we were looking at initial low 2021, as I mentioned, but 2Q was better than what we originally expected. Of course, because of the threat of the Delta variant, of course, even the Lambda, still not included, is clouding recovery prospects for 3Q and generally second half. But again, we know that vaccination is ramping up now later in the year. As mentioned there, with the faster pace of vaccination, a more benign lockdown status will accelerate recovery of certain sectors, not just retail, wholesale retail trade, but certain sectors that already actually jumped out of ahead, as we've seen in the second quarter numbers when the economy started to reopen. So this one just showing you how manufacturing has been. And back in July, we did have the chart here on the left. Just shows you if it's 50% up, that's expansionary in terms of manufacturing. If contractionary, if otherwise, or if it's it is found in the lower part of the chart, or 50 below. In July, it's 50.4 from 50.8, so it was a slight downtick. I would expect that August would be a little bit lesser than 50.4 because we know was an ECQ, and but again, I have to qualify that the ECQ that was implemented was actually very different from the ECQ that was implemented in the second quarter, and I would say there can actually be more than what we can expect from when we were, second quarter 2020. So, yep, and I think what's important also for real estate is that in terms of OFW remittances, last year it grew at almost -1, but negative 0.8%, and yet we'd actually expected it to be double digit. But it was very resilient, and it was very, very surprising. So now this year, with even just the latest number at 7%, the market the consensus was actually about 2.4% only, but it did jump to 7%. So it does represent a certain reopening of economies of host countries, and we know that Delta variant is not. It is a risk, but the way it is going now may not be the same as the way a lot of the advanced countries have dealt with the way it was dealt with in 2020. So pretty much, I would expect that this remittances would be more resilient, and we do expect it to end at 3% this year. In terms of inflation, we know inflation has really risen to above the government's target of 2 to 4%. But our forecast tells us that yes, it will remain elevated. It will actually end at around 4.3% for this year. Looking at potential impact of weather. Again, we're expecting that, and I think that the NEDAs flagged that also. But by next year, we do expect it to decline to within the government's target. So this has implications on where BSP will be, and I think that BSP has mentioned that they will not have a major monetary policy move in the near to medium term, no? Until there is some growth, solid growth that they see, no? So happening in the economy. I think I just wanted to show this chart because of how we see real estate, because we know that amidst all of the challenges, no, that we've had this past 16 months, there are opportunities, and we've seen that here in terms of the price indices of certain types of housing, both NCR and areas outside of NCR. And with this chart, it's so many numbers, no, but I just wanted to deduce this to you. In terms of opportunities, well, overall for National Capital Region, in terms of growth rate of prices, it's actually, negative, but it's concentrated to condominium units. But generally, all of the other types of housing have risen in terms of prices. Even in in terms of quarter on quarter, it has actually declined, no? But if you notice, in areas outside of NCR, there's an uptick, 0.8%, a very small one. But in terms of the types of housing units that's there, that's actually experiencing some declining prices, meaning there are opportunities, no? Even in terms of quarter and quarter levels, we see some declines on the level of prices, no? So I think in terms of prices and opportunities, I see much of that happening, and I've seen that because even in pre-pandemic, there has been a trend of moving out of the usual centers, no? And people don't want traffic, people don't want spending too much time, they would rather telecommute, etc. And then boom, the pandemic happened, and it did happen. It actually turbo boosted this, I wouldn't say exodus, but this trend, no? I would call it decentralization or reurbanization or deurbanization. I don't know if there's a term, but simply it's just the moving out of people. And people, I mean, it was even obvious in the way certain prices of properties outside of Metro Manila have risen, but now we can see that it has actually declined in some types of housing units, and it's quickly declining. And certainly there are opportunities that can be there for investors, no? And as I mentioned about the BSP, we do expect the BSP to, in terms of their monetary, their top line, no, we don't expect any interest rate uptick. You know, in fact, this 2022 forecast of 50 basis points is something that's actually still very tentative, as I see it, no? So we think that there are opportunities with the current low interest rate environment for investors that are looking to invest in real estate, especially. So, and that's what I think, and I think that's the last slide that I have. And thank you very much for listening.
A reliable property developer with over 25 years of experience. backed by a century of heritage. Aboitizland has a proven track record in enhancing the value of land. That means your investment in its residential lots are in capable hands. Booming infrastructure developments leading into emerging urban hotspots. An economic recovery on the horizon. Unbeatable deals and discounts. All signs point to one thing, that the time to grow your investment is today. Invest in residential lots in one of Aboitizland's master planned communities. Because opportunity waits for no one. It's time to grow with Aboitizland.
Thank you so much to Chief Economist of Unionbank, Carlo Asuncion. I hope that just like me, you were taking copious amounts of notes as he was speaking. A lot of great highlights that we can actually pick up from Carlo's presentation earlier on. And among the highlights that I picked up so far, one of the great things that he said, although he did paint a very realistic picture of our economy, he did say that there is a flicker of hope for us coming up. And he sees that there's going to be full recovery to pre-pandemic levels given the Delta variant by the first half of 2023. But here, the nice things I was listening to in his presentation, particularly when it came to real estate, and one of the nice things that he was saying was that there are a lot of opportunities which we can spot outside of the NCR. In particular, what I enjoyed about his presentation was that he was saying that there's been an acceleration towards the trend of decentralization, which means that even pre-pandemic times, people wanted to buy properties outside of Metro Manila because they couldn't really stand anymore the traffic or the traffic congestion of living here in the city. And what just happened with the pandemic was that it accelerated this move going outside. And for myself, I'm seeing the same trend coming from the perspective of the Subdivision and Housing Developers Association, that because of the work from home, because of remote working, because we can work now anywhere around the country, technically, we see more people wanting to buy properties outside of Manila. And also because of this virus, people want more of social distancing. They want more exposure to nature. So they're really looking for these prime opportunities that they can find outside of the NCR. So if you've got more questions about the economy, and at the same time you would like to ask more questions about Aboitizland, their properties which they're currently open for investment, please do ask those questions in our chat box, and our representatives coming from Aboitizland will be more than happy to address any of your questions. Now, moving on quickly, and just to let you know, Carlo will be back later on for our virtual roundtable discussion. So if you've got any questions for him and you'd like to put that in the chat box, please do so. We might be able to ask it from him during our roundtable discussion. Now, moving on to another part of our discussion, we want to talk about why residential land is a good investment tool, especially right now in the midst of the pandemic. Why is it good to invest right now during the pandemic? We will let you know why. Our second resource speaker has over 18 years of experience in real estate with expertise in project development, management, and operations. She joined Aboitizland in 2014 as part of their first Luzon team and has since worked on land acquisition, project development, and has headed Aboitizland's technical services group and residential operations teams. We are very lucky to have here today Aboitizland's Vice President of Project Development and Customer Management. Please welcome Ms. Monica Trajano. Ms. Monica, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, RJ. Thank you very much for that great intro. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Yes, just piggybacking off of what you said, and Carlos' talk earlier, right? Although the growth view has declined from targets, I can see that, the forecast has been going up through 2021, and I'm glad to see that we're optimistic. And especially what you said, there is opportunity in real estate, especially outside of the CBDs, with the decentralization trend, right? Which is why I am very excited to talk to you today about what Aboitizland offers that will definitely help you get started in investing in residential land. So let me tell you a little something first about Aboitizland. No? Aboitizland has over 25 years of solid real estate experience, having been founded in 1994 and having developed a good number of Cebu's most premium and exclusive residential communities. It is the property arm of the Aboitiz Group, one of the country's oldest and best managed conglomerates. I'm sure you know that it's engaged in power generation and distribution, banking, with Unionbank, of course, food, infrastructure development, construction, and land development, which is what we do. And Aboitizland is built on as strong a foundation as you would want your investments to be. But thinking about the current economic landscape after more than a year into the COVID-19 pandemic, we want to answer the question, why invest in residential land today, right? Why invest in residential land with everything going on around us? And I'll tell you why. Because land is one of the most reliable forms of investment you can have. Residential land provides better returns without as much volatility, right? Unlike other investment formats such as stocks, cryptocurrency, and others, the value of your residential land is almost always guaranteed to increase. So I'd like to talk about this value appreciation more in the context of Aboitizland's developments, beginning with Seafront. So one of our projects in South Luzon is a master planned beach community called Seafront Residences located in San Juan, Batangas. And this is master planned by DPC Co-Design, a world-renowned new urbanism proponent. Residential lots in Seafront Residences connect to the rest of this walkable community through diamond-shaped parks. You'll see them here in the photo below, no? Dotted with designer homes by Buji Royale, nonetheless, and lined by pathways extending to the sand and into the radiant sea. So we launched Seafront in 2017, and the residential lots there started at 10,000 pesos per square meter. This year, our buyers are enjoying the property value increase at 29,000 pesos per square meter already. And of course, as we've all mentioned, no, with working from anywhere quickly becoming the norm, people are no longer stuck needing to live in cities to be near their places of work. So this has triggered a rise in demand for homes by the beach, for second homes, no? Especially by the beach here in the Philippines. And because you can work from anywhere, and if you can work from anywhere, why not work from paradise, right? So with that, we expect that land value to rise even more during the coming years. In addition, our latest launched inventory is in Seafront Residences Crest, which is the second phase of this beach community, and it offers residential lots starting at only 15,000 pesos monthly. All right, so let's keep within South Luzon. Also in Southern Luzon is the Villages at Lipa, which is a 49-hectare residential enclave of Lima, which is an industrial anchored estate located in Lipa, Batangas, and it is dubbed as the next big thing in the South. With its accessibility through the NLEX-SLEX connector, Lima, the next leading mixed-use economic center in the South, offers prime industrial, commercial, and residential real estate. So its residential enclave is the Villages at Lipa, and it has provided investors with great options to add to their portfolio. As part of the bustling economic center, this cluster here that you see of villages makes modern conveniences well within reach without having to give up Aboitizland's signature pocket parks and wide open spaces. We plan it all the same pretty much. And the Villages at Lipa was launched in 2019 at 11,800 pesos per month, or 11,800 pesos per square meter, and is currently enjoying a 53% property value increase because it's priced at 18,000 per square meter, as you saw. Okay? With Lima's expansion as Batangas's first central business district rises within the estate and an increasing preference for an address outside of Metro Manila, right? The value of residential lots at the villages at the Sierra and Brook villages, we've launched 2 so far, they can only go higher faster. Okay, so speaking of rate of increase and further reinforcing the benefits of investing in residential land, another reason to do so is that residential land values will increase over time. Okay, so history continues to prove that the longer you hold on to your real estate, the more money you will make. Okay, especially in areas where infrastructure is expected to rise. Perfectly positioned, I want to say, no, to benefit from our country's infrastructure push, as you see it happening all over the place, are Aboitizland's developments in North Luzon. Our Ahoya projects, here you'll see mapped out in Pampanga, Cabanatuan, and Tarlac, are expected to enjoy higher land values within the next 10 years as Central Luzon becomes the heart of the infrastructure boom on the island. So our Ahoya communities make great investments for people that are looking for residential land outside the metro, but still want to keep very accessible to central business districts. They're also master planned with great detail put into its open spaces, their green belts, amenities for the community, of course, and they're provided with town plazas to cater to the community's needs. Ahoya is the perfect setting for either your investment or your family's roots to grow in. Let's start with Ahoya Pampanga, right? Ahoya Pampanga is a smooth 1-hour ride from Quezon City, making it a safe choice for investors looking for residential lots or residential land that is not too far from the metro. And it's a great middle ground between Metro Manila and the future megacity, New Clark City. The north-south commuter railway will also start in New Clark City, making travel from Central Luzon to South Luzon faster and even more efficient. So since it was launched in 2019, Ahoya Pampanga's value has risen from 9,000 per square meter to 13,600 today. Okay, increasing by 53% in value in just 2 years. Okay, all right. Another project benefiting from this future CBD of New Clark, right, is Ahoya Capas, strategically located along MacArthur Highway in Tarlac, which makes it very accessible, especially for those of you that frequent La Union for surfing or Baguio for some relaxation, right? If you have a second home there, you know, this is a good midpoint for everybody, right? So Ahoya Capas is a comfortable 20-minute car ride to and from New Clark City as well. If you have your place of work or business, or will have it in New Clark City in the future. Okay, so we launched Capas in 2018 at only 9,000 pesos per square meter, and it is now priced at 13,500 per square meter. It's growing by as much as 57% in value since then. All right, a little further north of Capas is Ahoya Cabanatuan. You see it right here, no? Which will also benefit from the infra that's booming in northern Luzon, right? And it will benefit from the Central Luzon Link Expressway as it cuts down the 70-minute travel time from Tarlac to Cabanatuan to a quick 20-minute ride. Imagine that. So, Cabanatuan is the first Ahoya community in Luzon that was launched in 2018. And back then it was priced at only 6,500 per square meter, and it's currently valued at 14,800 per square meter. See here. So in just 3 years, right, our Ahoya vecinos are seeing their properties escalate in value by about 127% already. Right? And these Central Luzon hotspots will also enjoy proximity to the Bulacan Airport, the New Clark International Airport, the NLEX SLEX Connector Road, and the extension of the SCTEX and TPLEX. And being at the heart of the infrastructure boom in Central Luzon, there's no better time than now. to be a part of Aboitizland's Ahoya communities. All right. A third reason to invest in residential land is that residential land has a tangible asset value. Okay, there will always be value in your land. Other investments can leave you with little to no tangible asset value, as stock can dip to zero. Sure, you all know this, right? When the market is unstable or uncertain. Our investors in Cebu, let me just say that they know this all too well. Having been a part of our communities and finding security in their investments, as well as reaping the returns year on year from purchasing property with Aboitizland. Okay, our latest Cebu development is Amoa in the northern part of the island. Our vecinos at Amoa, our fastest selling project in the north of Cebu, enjoy panoramic views of the rolling hills of Compostela while enjoying a wealth of conveniences and comforts within their community, being the most highly amenitized residential community north of the city. Okay? Now, when we started selling, Amoa was valued at 5,000 pesos per square meter during our launch in 2015 and is currently at 17,700 pesos per square meter. And at a time like this, where our environment is constantly changing, an investment such as one in Amoa is one you'd surely want to have. And luckily, our Amoa vecinos are now enjoying a 186, almost 186% increase in their property value. Okay, all right, what else? An investment in residential land can diversify your portfolio. Okay, so when you diversify your portfolio, it means you're spreading out your risk, right? Residential land will always serve as a safe, tangible asset to mitigate that risk in your portfolio if you have other investment options that you have within there. Okay, additionally, residential land offers more freedom and flexibility. Okay, speaking of then diversifying and being flexible, you have plenty of options in terms of location when it comes to investing in real estate with Aboitizland. So aside from our burgeoning communities in Luzon, right, a big part of Aboitizland's portfolio is located in Cebu, where we have our roots, of course. So apart from Amoa, in Cebu, I'm sure a lot of you know, currently multi-billion peso infrastructure projects are transforming Cebu into the economic juggernaut that it was always destined to be. And with Metro Cebu Expressway and the Cebu Cordova Link Expressway, the otherwise far-flung areas are becoming more and more accessible. Okay, so aside from passively waiting for land value to grow, which of course is a hassle-free option, but if you're more of a hands-on investor, you can also use your land investment in so many ways, like build a house on it and sell it or resell it, or offer it as a property for lease, right? And if you are an end user, you will have the freedom to decide on the kind of house that you want to be built and the freedom to choose your architects and contractors depending on your budget and your preferences. And you can also choose certain land-only developments that fit your specific lifestyle, and options abound for this within the Aboitizland's portfolio. One of our projects where you can do exactly that is Foresa Mountain Town. You're seeing it here right now. Foresa Mountain Town is Aboitizland's residential project in Balamban, Cebu. Here you will have the freedom to build your own mountain home to your liking. Okay? You can decide to have as many rooms as you need and work with your preferred architect, of course. You can have it as modern as you'd opt for, or as modern as you'd like, or opt for a cabin-like design and make use of wood, if you want to, right? So here in Foresa, when we started offering Foresas to our buyers, it was valued at just 8,600 per square meter in 2017. And it has now grown in value to 11,500 per square meter. And for as low as 17,000 pesos per month, right? So here, it's a 33.72 property value increase over just a few years. All right, so as low as 17,000 pesos per month, your dream spot in a lush mountain town community is well within reach, right? And again, the property escalation here is almost at 34%. Now, if you'd prefer to be within a stone's throw away from Cebu City, we also have a couple of developments that fit just that need. Let's start with Pristina North Residences. Pristina North is one of the largest high-end communities in Talamban, and it occupies 32.5 hectares of prime property overlooking the majestic mountains of the Sudlon National Park to the northwest and the skyline of Cebu City to the southwest. And this community in Pristina North is perfect for people looking for a custom-built property within the city that will make a superb heirloom home. Because apart from lots, we also have built-up homes in Pristina North. Okay, from its launch in 2010, Pristina lots have appreciated from 6,200 per square meter to now 30,000 per square meter today. Okay, phenomenal value escalation at almost quadruple, right? 384% its original value. It's truly a testament to Aboitizland's track record of enhancing the value of land. Okay, so the second property close to Cebu City is Prevea Hills, which is another hyper-exclusive community just right next door to Pristina North. And Prevea Hills in Talamban offers expansive spaces and curated amenities amidst gloriously lush and rolling terrain. Okay, it is an ultra-exclusive neighborhood. Why? Because it offers lots only with only 11 units per hectare. So rich greenery and open space, as I mentioned, they make up 45% of the development, with 3 hectares dedicated to landscape parks alone. So this is another one of our developments where vecinos are truly reaping the rewards of their investment, as can be seen from the jump in value from 12,500 per square at launch to 27,000 pesos per square meter today. Okay, you have a chance to own a piece of Prevea Hills limited premium lots today with a massive discount. Right, we're currently offering very good discounts. It's a massive discount today of up to 5.3 million pesos, or a monthly amortization of only 55,000 pesos. Okay, with its stellar value appreciation, as you can see here, of 117% since its launch, your investment will undoubtedly go very far. All right, lastly, why should you invest in residential land? Because residential land is easy to own, right? Unlike a house and lot that could cost a significant amount to purchase, lots present an opportunity at a lowered barrier to entry into real estate investing, but most especially if you're quick to the draw, right? You need to watch out for what's out there, not only in terms of inventory, but also in pricing, terms, and promos that the developers are offering. In Aboitizland, for example, equity payments for residential lots can start at 4,500 pesos monthly, right? It's fairly small, no, relatively speaking. And with these low amortizations and the promos that you're seeing here in my slides today, right? It's definitely a buyer's market. Now is the best time to grow your assets because these low monthly amortizations will also increase as the units are snatched up, right? And with the economy normalizing as we reach herd immunity early in 2023. Now, you throw in the big discounts that you're seeing here today that we're offering to sweeten the deal, and your investment in land could be attainable today. But again, these deals aren't here forever, so you have to be quick to grab them. All right. And it's easy to invest, no? It's easy to purchase residential lots or easy to own. And Aboitizland residential lots are also easy to own. Okay, let me tell you why. Because our contactless home buying process makes it more convenient to buy property. Okay, all you have to do is look for your preferred project online, send us a message through any of our social media platforms or our website, and a property specialist will be in touch with you soon after to assist you to go on a virtual tour, right? We're offering that already today. And reservation fees may be settled through online banking, and documents in digital format are also accepted, right? So changing the way we're doing things. And our digital home buying service is also end-to-end, ensuring that each step of the home ownership process can be done online. Okay? From the property search all the way to turnover, we make sure that you're able to complete the journey to your new investment or your new home safely and conveniently. Okay, I'd also like to add that being part of one of the largest conglomerates in the country, the Aboitis Group, right? It's allowed us to work hand in hand with our sister companies like Unionbank to create an enhanced buying experience across the board. And with Unionbank, you can enjoy a payment term of 10% in 24 months. So imagine the lowered monthly amortization payments for that. So you can avail of our residential lots at a 10% equity payment over a 24-month payment term, and then 90% you can loan through Unionbank. And to make it even more seamless, right? Unionbank offers pre-qualification services to help determine quickly that you will be able to loan through Unionbank or make that loan through Unionbank. And it will afford you access to faster approval time, streamlined processing, and favorable payment terms, I'm sure. Okay. Again, Aboitizland and Unionbank as part of the Aboitis Group, whose core value and thrust is innovation. We both aim to transform the customer experience. Unionbank, I hope a lot of you already know, is doing this through digital banking, right? And Aboitizland through our contactless home buying service. Okay, so this ends my presentation, and don't forget, waiting is the highest form of investment or interest, or highest form of interest. So make sure you start now in your investment and reap the benefits sooner. It's time to grow your money, it's time to grow your portfolio, and it's time to grow with Aboitizland. Thank you.
For all you dreamers, fortune seekers, travelers, and adventurers. For all of you who search for better opportunities, who chase a brighter future in distant lands to provide for your family's needs. For all of you who dream of retiring in comfort in your home country, of having your own place in the sun, of giving your family the good life they deserve. For all our overseas Filipino workers, fulfill your dreams now with Aboitizland. We are a part of the Aboitis Group, one of the country's strongest corporations. For over 2 decades, Aboitizland has nurtured the dreams of thousands of overseas Filipinos. With our more than 25 thriving, masterfully designed communities. From Cebu to Nueva Ecija, from the hills to the beaches, from townhomes to vacation homes, from dreams to reality. We at Aboitizland bring your dreams to life with homes and communities made for life. For all you who travel the world in search of your dreams, find them all right here, right now, here at Aboitizland.
For the very informative presentation. And I'm guessing here right now, many of the people listening to us live on Facebook are interested in the different property developments which you showcase not only here in Luzon, but also in Cebu. So if you are interested to find out more about the payment terms or the special offers, please make sure to drop by, leave a comment on the chat box so that our sales representatives from Aboitizland can get in touch with you. Now, just a couple of highlights from Monica's presentation. And one of the nice things that I liked about it was that it dovetails very nicely with the presentation of Carlo earlier on, where he was saying that there's actually a move towards areas outside of the NCR with regard to development. And you can see that very clearly with the developments in Lipa and San Juan, Batangas. As you can see, those areas for Aboitizland are doing pretty well. Aside from that one, areas in Central Luzon, because of infrastructure developments, are also improving in Cabanatuan, in Tarlac, and in Pampanga. So you can see that clearly that there's a strong trend of decentralization. At the same time, she was mentioning people who want to get their second homes or their work from home addresses outside of Metro Manila at the same time. And one of the important things which I noted from her presentation was actually the increase in property values. If you were seeing there right now, the increase in property values, which she was mentioning, one of the lowest was 34%, one of the highest was 387% over a period of 4 to 6 years when you invest in Aboitizland. One of the key things we must remember, aside from location, is the credibility and track record of our developers. And as you know, Aboitizland is part of the Aboitiz group of companies. So you've got really a strong backing for Aboitizland. And the nice thing about it, I think one of the things I would like to leave with you or impart with all the people listening here right now is the contactless home buying service of Aboitizland, which is end-to-end, means that if you saw a property right now that you liked, you can actually go online to Aboitizland and you can have somebody schedule a virtual tour with you. And if you would like to proceed with your reservations, you can actually go online. They've got digitized applications for you so you don't have to go there physically to fill up any of the applications. And you can proceed further from there through Unionbank. So Unionbank is there to help you to provide financing for your residential home or for your residential lot of your dreams. So again, really a complete service when coming into Aboitizland over here. Again, thank you so much for that very informative discussion, Monica. And having said all that, may I please invite back here on stage Monica and Carlo for our virtual panel discussion. So again, please welcome back Carlo Asuncion, our Chief Economist from Unionbank, together with Ms. Monica Trajano, our Vice President from Aboitizland. So again, Monica, Carlo, thanks so much for those very informative presentations. It's great to be with you here on the program. Now, earlier on, I reminded people that they had to go online to answer the question which was appearing on the screen, which is, do they have a positive or negative outlook of the economy? But right before we enter into that one, Monica, we promised people listening here right now, there are people who took time off from their schedules. Some are abroad, some are taking break from work, and they're wondering, are there any special offers for people listening to us here right now on this Facebook Live if they are interested to get a property right now in Aboitizland?
Yeah, absolutely, RJ. And yes, I want to thank everybody. It's the middle of the morning and the middle of the night in some other places. So yes, there are plenty. So all they have to do is just, send us a message on Facebook Live in the chat and join our breakout rooms, or a property specialist will be in touch with them. We have offers of up to 20% discounts. I think I flashed that a little bit on my screen earlier, up to 5 million pesos in discounts for the higher priced properties. And for just today, if they reserve today, there are gift certificates waiting for them of around 10,000 pesos for making a reservation today. So if they want to join the breakout rooms, that's there for them to take.
Okay, so again, I would like to remind people there's going to be a gift certificate of 10,000 pesos just today if you do make any of your reservations here today. At the same time, we're giving up to 20% discounts. And if you want to find out these special offers, and if you're overwhelmed by these offers right now, you don't know which one to choose, again, please inform any of our property specialists. Just put your message on the chat box. They are listening here right now. They're going to respond to you soonest, or you can join them in the breakout rooms. Now, going back to our question, what is the general outlook of the economy? And we're pleasantly surprised to find out that it's overwhelmingly positive. That's 91% positive and 9% just negative. So having said that, Carlo, I think you're pleasantly surprised. I see a reaction in our own private chat over here. You said, wow. Well, what do you think of that reaction, Carlo?
Yeah, probably these people are vaccinated already. So yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, but I'm just surprised that a lot of people actually see it very positive, in terms of the economy recovering, and because it's being portrayed in media about the Delta variant, and it's just out there, but seemingly with just unpacking all the numbers and looking how things are at, and I think it's somehow people see that there's a flicker of hope, and it's in fact actually overwhelming, at least for this sample size. No?
For the sample size. Thanks so much. Spoken like a true economist, Carlo. Thank you very much. Monica, I think we're saying that the economy is very positive right now. That's the reaction. What is your take on it coming from the real estate perspective? Meaning that, are you seeing, like we were saying earlier on, we've been very resilient when it comes to real estate, right? So you're seeing something that not everybody else is seeing with regard to this pandemic. Are you seeing a positive outlook for real estate given the economy and the figures that Carla was showing us earlier on?
Yes, I actually am, perhaps from my vantage point, right? Considering the projects that Aboitizland has to offer. In the past year where we thought, oh, it's going to be bleak, we had to recast our targets, and we said, same way you did, Carlo, right? With your growth projections, and we said maybe not. But then again, trends shifted, and people saw the importance of really decentralizing, as you mentioned. And I suppose, again, from my vantage point, people are positive about that and saying, you know what, it's time for me to probably put my roots down into whether it's land, right, or a house and lot. And outside the metro, it's a buyer's market right now outside the metro. So while people are a little bit cautious, in fact, our sales exceeded our targets last year.
Wow.
Exceeded our targets last year and this year as well, right? Year to date. So we're happy to report that, of course, considering how things are going, So I think with that, just people are more positive in terms of where they're putting their money in a more secure option or investment format, right?
Yeah. Having said that, Monica, before I give my next question, allow me to provide some context where I'm coming in from. No, as you can see, that OFW remittances were actually increasing, have been increasing again. Like Carlos said, 7% in June. No, and what we're actually seeing also from real estate is that many of the OFWs, because they've been locked down and they've been stuck at their home also wherever they are based abroad, is that they've also reevaluated their property. So we're seeing that more OFWs, instead of going for luxury items, are actually going now for essential items. Among them is real estate. And also, we're also seeing, because at this time, many beachfront properties or many properties outside of Manila, especially for the higher end of the socioeconomic bracket, are actually investing in properties outside of Manila because it's much safer. So tell us right now, having that in mind, no, both what we would call maybe mid-cost to medyo higher to higher income properties. Is it a good time to invest in real estate right now, given all these things that are happening?
For me, yes, absolutely. Again, because there is so much inventory in the CBDs where typically, construction has been coming up in the past few years, right? And so now, expanding out of those cities, the inventory, yes, it's still there, and there are a lot of discounts, there are a lot of promos, bank rates are at their lowest, right? And so if you don't have the cash on hand, say for a second home property, and you're just starting in real estate, it's a good time to get a loan. And as you said, no, RJ, the purchasing power is already very spread out, right? You have your seasoned investors, you have your OFWs, right? And you have your millennials who are already progressing in their careers, and you can travel. You basically can travel. So you kind of they're reassessing their priorities, and so the demand is there. Because the demand is there, there's so much competition because there's so much inventory as well. So I think it's a good time to invest. Prices are low, interest rates are low. If you want to get a loan, you get in now, and the growth trajectory, I think, for the pricing, because the inventories being snatched up quickly is pretty positive, right?
Well, thanks so much for that perspective, Carlo. From an economist's perspective, and you're seeing the signs, and I'm seeing over the years you've seen the trends. No, why is it good to invest in real estate, particularly right now? What are you seeing?
I think it's just really the trend. No, I mean, not even just talking about just here in the Philippines. No, in fact, the World Economic Forum came out with their own study about the urbanization that I was talking about, or the decentralization, and how even I think Monica's made mention about this construction, how infrastructure is out there, is being built, and how it's opening up things. No, and I think that with all of these things, it's really the best time. It's a as they say nga, you buy low and then you sell high. I mean, this is now the time. This is the low part, no? And if you can't see that, even in difficult times, there are opportunities, then you're actually missing out, no, very much. So as I mentioned, livability, sustainability, even existence of 20-minute, 20-minute cities where within 20 minutes, everything is available. And these are the things that Aboitizland is also investing into. So, and it's offering. So I think that generally, really, real estate is a thing to go.
And also, going back to your presentation, you did say that I guess in the last quarter there was actually an increase of 1.4% in the industry, right? So in the construction. So I think that's a really, really good thing for us to look as a sign of the recovery of the industry as a whole. Now, moving on to my next question, I want to go back to Monica. Now, Monica, during your presentation, you were talking about all these historic appreciation rates for Aboitiz properties, and we're seeing that from a low of 38%, like I said earlier on, to a high of 387% with regard to property appreciation. But having said that, I think we know for a fact that if you get Aboitizland, there is property appreciation. But maybe what you can help us better appreciate is that what is it about Aboitizland that if there are investors with competing interests, what makes Aboitizland a good investment for them?
Okay. From the most basic sense, it's, I guess, the brand equity that we bring to the table, right? It's a trusted brand, number one, right? And it's demonstrated, as you saw earlier, in the growth, the value appreciation, or the growth rates also at of our properties year on year. You saw earlier our properties span Luzon and of course Cebu, and where we're well established, right? And I mentioned that purchasing a property in any of our developments has proven to be a good decision for many people. Historically, we've seen our land values in Cebu appreciate at an average of 15% yearly.
Mm-hmm.
And with our best-selling property there, Amoa, you saw earlier, no?
Mm-hmm.
Its compound annual growth rate is 21%. And you saw it's increased by 216% since launching in 2016. For our high-end properties in Cebu, like Prevea Hills that I mentioned earlier, it's increased by over 300%, right? It's pretty large, right?
Incredible, yes. Oh.
Yeah, we've launched that a while back, right? That was some years ago, but then there's Foresa, which we launched in 2017, for example, which has appreciated almost 34%, right, in a span of 3 years. So, with the price of Foresa today, if you can imagine it, as you were mentioning earlier, you buy low, you sell high. Basically, this is why it's good to invest in Aboitizland. We're sort of we have properties in many different stages. There are those that are in the pre-selling stage, whether it's residential lots or house and lot, and then those that already have ready for occupancy units where, yes, you're buying in a little bit higher, but it's only bound to you can resell it at a higher rate anyway due to the compound annual growth rate, right? Historically there. In Luzon, on the other hand, for seafront, because of this trend, right, we were not, I guess, surprised, but of course it tended towards, I want to live by the beach if I can work anywhere. And so that community has appreciated at a rate of 47%. since 2017. So
Wow.
any investment, right, you're thinking, oh, 10% is good for me. That's great, right? 47%, right, for a piece of land. So that's 190% increase over 4 years, right? And then the villages at Lipa, which we just launched, value has appreciated close to 60 since the start of selling in 2019. So seafront and TVL, we call it, the compound annual growth rates, 34 and 26% respectively.
Wow.
Right? So North Luzon, mid-market. For a mid-market, it's very hard no, because of your price caps that you usually see in the mid-markets. But since we're properly positioned, we don't only cater to the local market, I suppose. We're close to New Clark. We're close to, actually, because of the infra, Pampanga, everything north is so close to the properties that we have. So we've seen our annual growth rates there to be between 23 and 35%, right? So, okay, while the rates may be largely representative of price increases pre-pandemic, no, I have to say that, again, our sales have remained strong over the past year, and we've been able to increase value through all of these changes that we've gone through, that the world has gone through, right? Despite that. So I'd like to think that we owe this to the fact that, again, our developments are perfectly positioned, both in location and in planning principles, to address the future really of how we live and work post-pandemic. So it's quite a long answer because I'm talking about numbers at the same time as value proposition here, but that's basically what it is, why it's good to invest with Aboitizland.
Yeah. And I guess I really like the idea of bringing back to really the crux of that discussion. It's the common denominator across all the different Aboitizland properties is that it's perfectly positioned, and it went into the very good property planning for the area. And I think that's really key. And that's what you're really investing in, not just a property, but an Aboitizland property. And that's what I really want to stress to the people here right now. No. Now, Carlo, going back to you right now, you've seen the economy, you've seen different parts of the country where there are areas that are accelerating faster than others. Are there specific areas in the country that you think will recover first? And in particular, I guess zeroing in, if you're looking at our Aboitizland properties, how do you see the areas where we're located? Do you see them as really great pockets of development in Cabanatuan, in Tarlac, in Pampanga, in Batangas, and Cebu, of course?
Well, in terms of areas, everywhere where build, and infrastructure have been going up. It's showing in the numbers even before the pandemic. Like back in 2018, Cordillera Administrative Region, which is at the end of that new highway, T-Plex and SC-Tex, and everything else that's along that, development, that infrastructure, has actually registered higher than the 6% back then.
Wow!
They were like around 7.1 or even 8.1% growth. regional GDP growth for these certain areas, especially also Central Luzon. And now that there are other infrastructure projects that have opened, particularly the Clark Airport, I'm pretty sure that these ones are going to be major drivers for a recovery. And in fact, I think even certain other projects that are starting to go online, and where these properties are definitely going to be, or these areas are going to be ahead, no? But I also wanted to point out three things, no? Essential, digital, and vaccinated. I think those are also the I would say the features or the characteristics of areas, no, or even industries, no, that are going to be ahead of the others, no. Essential industries, of course, digitalized, no, just like what we've been talking about, from end to end, no, services like this one. I think that it's pretty obvious with the numbers also that's been shown by Aboitizland, no. And of course, vaccinated, once industries, certain manufacturing firms, and particularly also areas like NCR, of course, when people are vaccinated, confidence can come back, and firms can actually be more can now open, at least more than what they were doing the past quarters.
That's right. I really like going back to what you just said. No, is that what we should really be looking at as well? Is of course when we look at the build program, is what areas are ripe for infrastructure. And like you said, no, Central Luzon is doing good. So all the Ahoya properties seem to be placed very strategically. On top of that one, we know of the multi-billion-dollar infrastructure going on in Cebu. So any Cebu project right now is going to be doing very well as a result of infrastructure. And as you said, no, digital is the way to go. And we're very glad that there's because of the whole ecosystem that you have in Aboitiz, no? You have, of course, Unionbank working together with Aboitizland to make sure that the process is almost seamless for people to invest into the properties here right now that you're offering, which are perfectly positioned. Having said all that, Monica, moving on to your properties and talking about our OFWs, many of them, like I said, they're based abroad. Of course, they're all based abroad, no? and they want to invest here. How has the structure that you set up in terms of contactless home buyer interaction plus the Unionbank, how has it been very helpful for our OFWs to invest in Aboitizland properties? Because my presumption is that during this time, OFW purchases have actually increased during this pandemic. Please share with us your insights.
Yes, actually, sustained and increased for those properties that we never we saw very low OFW interest in the past, right? As you said, they're sitting there, they're not spending their money on anything else, right? Maybe watching YouTube, and we're online. We're on all social media, and so they're paying attention to what's high value. And with the digitization of our documents, number one, right? And the digitalization of how we work through a sale. And more than that, how we take care of a sale after the outset, right? It's absolutely been essential for us to sustain how we do what we do every day. And it's been very helpful for the OFWs. And I say, when we talk about end-to-end, of course, everybody's on social media today. You can find a property at a click of a button, at the click of your finger, or the tips of your fingers, no? But more than that, it's really being able to talk to a live person, because with real estate, you really, traditional is still there. The tradition is there to stay. The human element will always be there to stay, because you want to invest with a company that you can trust, right? You can't always talk to a robot 24/7. So we want to be able to integrate that kind of interaction between our team and the tools that we use also. So there's that capability there. And again, digitizing documents makes it very easy to go back and forth, offering more payment platforms, whether it's your reservation fee or your monthly amortization payments. And pretty soon, again, because it's end-to-end, being able to figure out your borrowing capacity, your capability, right? Both of those online, and actually being able to make a loan through online means. And just monitoring your property's progress. It's been very important for OFWs who are not here. And I will take it all the way to, we have what is called virtual turnovers. Kasi hindi nakakauwi yung mga tao. They can't come home, or they choose not to. You go through a 10-day quarantine, you'd rather spend your money, no? But, your house is ready. It's sitting there, and we have a process that we go through where you accept the house. And so we've come up with something where you can do a virtual turnover because the documents are digital, and we'll walk you through your home together with your family here in the Philippines and you abroad, and we'll do it together on site for us, of course.
Well, do you use Zoom? I'm just curious. When you do the virtual turnover, do you have a Zoom account and you walk the house and show them? Do you show them what's happening? Wow.
Yeah, typically Zoom, or if you're in Google, there's Google Chat or Google Meets now. Meets. You can use, right, Google Meets, and so we do that. And what does that mean? That means upping the ante on your Wi-Fi capacity wherever.
Yes, exactly.
It's just transforming how we do things all together so that it's easy for everybody. It's been essential right now. You have to do this to help people, right? With what they need to do.
Monica, having said all that, I think one of the great things people don't realize is that, like I said, part of being part of the Aboitizland being a part of the Aboitis group, is that you've got a great partnership together with Unionbank. Can you please tell us, what's the advantage of getting from Aboitizland and being directly linked together with Unionbank? What makes it easier for the potential landowner or homeowner to actually to invest in an Aboitizland property and then get the loan through Unionbank?
Okay. Well, if you're an investor, I'm sure you know how reliable of a bank Unionbank is, right? Very solid, very stable. That's one thing, right? And of course, your rates are pretty good, comparably, right? Now, if you're a first-time home buyer, I think that's where you're really looking at reaping the benefits of a seamless connection. It takes away a lot of the guesswork in purchasing your property for the first time. First, as I mentioned, you get pre-qualified. That we've already tied up on pre-qualification. In fact, in a matter of minutes, you'll figure out, can I buy this house that I want? Can I buy this piece of land that I'm looking at? Am I qualified for this? And if I'm not qualified for this, what are my other options, right? In terms of price points. So that conversation can be made. And then after that, again, our digital platforms or our tools, even in the back of house, are synchronized with Unionbank, wherein again, your payments can be scheduled digitally. Your loans can be approved. Sorry, because it's pre-qual and then approval, of course, right? Your loans can be approved online, and I'd like to think that we have a pretty good relationship being sister companies. We know each other. I think that's the advantage there, that we can work through specific needs even of our customers, or who we call our vecinos. Vecino is neighbor in Spanish. So it's a very personal experience when it comes to purchasing with Aboitizland, partnered with Unionbank.
So mga future vecinos, let's make it, we've made it easier for you here in Aboitizland in the partnership with Unionbank. So again, I'm looking right now at the chat box. A lot of people chatting here right now, and I'm making sure that please do ask your questions right now. Really great properties, perfectly positioned. Again, all of our representatives and our sales representatives are there listening to you right now here. So in chat box, if you've got questions about the different properties, please let us know. If you want to avail of the promos, please let us know. Our sales representatives will get back to you soonest. Now, going back to Carlo, with regard to the economy, there are two things people are looking forward to with regard to the uptick or the improvement in the economy. Really, number one is the holiday spending, hopefully. And number two is, of course, election season. How do you think those two things will impact real estate? Have you seen in the past really that, if there's more election spending, more people will invest more in property, or will they spend more for property during this time?
Well, definitely, as we've seen historically, election spending has been additional 0.5 to about 1% to GDP. Now, we did actually included that in our forecast already. So, but definitely, it's a plus to consumption. We know that the Philippines is a 70% consumption-driven economy. So, and definitely people will have opportunities to purchase, and of course, part of it is real estate, when they realize that real estate is really a good opportunity now. So I think in terms of the election, it is a plus. Of course, with now with the holiday spending coming, definitely that's another plus, and hopefully it's going to be a little bit better compared to last year. And we know that it's not going to be the same from last year.
That's right, and like you said earlier on, Carlo, get vaccinated. That's part of the thing to get consumer confidence back on track, not just for the holidays, but even for the election season. We're looking forward to our first, hopefully ever, socially distanced election season. If we can, hopefully, to prevent any super spreader events. Now, having said that, I want to just dovetail to the next question with regard to the economy, and I guess looking at it from a more macro perspective for you, is that what do you think will be the impact really globally of pandemic efforts, and how it will affect the Philippines? I guess two things. I guess how the advanced economies, how they will be progressing with regard to the pandemic, and how will it affect the Philippines and maybe real estate. And at the same time, aside from that one, how about our reception of the vaccine supplies? How will that affect also our recovery efforts?
Yeah, I think one thing that came to mind is the Pfizer, the full approval of Pfizer in the U.S. by the U.S. FDA, and in fact, actually, even equities markets actually responded to that, in terms of vaccine optimism. Because now, at least if the full approval is already there, it has its own commercial name already. Then corporations and different firms can now mandate their employees to actually get vaccinated. So even more. So I think that has been bringing a lot of optimism, at least in equities markets and in different markets all around. And definitely, I'm sure there's going to be a windfall here because a lot of our OFW remittances come from the US, a big chunk of it. So at least, and we're expecting a lot more full approvals from the US FDA of these vaccines. So, but in terms of what you mentioned about the supply, again, I think I made mention that it's a function. Definitely, even though we have been ramping up, because the supply has been coming in. Definitely, how much we receive on a monthly basis is what we're gonna what we're gonna roll out. So hopefully, even with this recent approvals, more and more, in terms of production, they will increase it. And definitely just because this pandemic, I think it really has a global, of course, global element to it. Wherein that we should involve a lot of the other countries, to get vaccinated. I mean, in phases, most probably, like it should be like at a certain point, a lot of them, at least 10% of this country's population have already been vaccinated at a certain point. And then it has to be, moved in a very timely and a very coordinated way.
Well, thanks a lot, Carlo, for giving us a perspective of where the economy is going. Hopefully, what you're sharing with us is what is causing us to be positive about our outlook with regard to the economy. Now, having said all that, we're going to start wrapping up here right now. Miss Monica, there's still some people out there still very excited about our Aboitizland properties. Maybe just one more time, let's give them one more recap of the different properties which they can invest in and the possible promos which they can enjoy if they invest right now in Aboitizland.
Thank you, RJ. I'll take a few minutes. You're right. I'm excited about that. Again, we are in Cebu, where we've been for over 25 years. We have Amoa in Compostela, our mid-market there. We have Prevea Hills, Cristina North in Talamban, close to the city. We have Foresa Mountain Town up in the eastern Cebu mountains, in Balamban. And of course, in Luzon, we have properties in southern Luzon, Seafront, which is by the beach. It's already a built-up beach community. People have moved in already and enjoying working from paradise. And we have the villages at Lipa, which is right across from Lima, an integrated economic center there. Again, of course, Lipa is very close to the CBDs. And North Luzon as well, Pampanga, or Hoyas in Pampanga, Capas, Tarlac, and Cabanatuan, Nueva Ecija. So we have a lot to offer you. And again, discounts of up to 20%. That's just our standard term. So if you are interested, please chat in the chat box below, or contact our property specialists. I believe there are breakout rooms after. And again, it's 10,000 pesos in gift certificates today if you reserve. So it's quite a good deal, no?
And if you're looking for those gift certificates, please make sure, send us a message right now here on the chat box. We're replying. Sorry, let me bring that closer. We're replying very, very quickly to everybody. So again, we would love to hear from you. We would love to help you make that property investment. As you can see, from as low as 33% to as high as 387% property value increase when you invest in an Aboitizland perfectly positioned property. And of course, Carlo, your closing words. I know that you're cautiously optimistic about the growth of the economy. Why is it a good time right now to invest in Aboitizland property and also borrow money from Unionbank to invest in your dream lot or your dream property?
Yeah, I think in terms of optimism, vaccination, we know that vaccination is very important. It's there. It's rising up, and and even though with all of these challenges, we know that there are opportunities, and we've shown that in the numbers in the different, particularly the real estate property price indices, and obviously. Also, as I mentioned, that there's a flicker of hope even with all this the OFW remittances and all of these positive green shoots. I would say it's there. No, it's just a matter of looking at the opportunities and where we can take advantage of. And I would like to say that. I think I just wanted to say about the partnership between Aboitizland and Unionbank, and especially for those people who are not actually our clients yet, but because if you decide to buy something from Aboitizland and start to get involved with Aboitizland, and they get to introduce you with the system of Unionbank, I'm pretty sure that you will be joining us very soon.
Thank you. So really great news. Thank you so much for this air of optimism that you're bringing to us here right now, Carlo. These are not things that Carlo's not going to give you a rose-tinted picture of what's happening. But as you can see, he's cautiously optimistic. And again, real estate still seems to be one of the key drivers or key investments that you can make here right now. And of course, if you do make that real estate investment, you know where to look. Aboitizland's perfectly positioned properties. And if you're looking for a property today, again, our sales representatives are there. And if you get something today, you get a 10,000 peso gift certificate. Now, I invite all of you, if you're going to join one of our breakout rooms in Cebu or Manila, please get in touch with your favorite sales representatives coming from Aboitizland. They would be glad to help you out. Again, thank you so much again for your time, Carlo. Thank you so much, Monica. If you're interested to know more about the promos of Aboitizland or you want to reserve right now, please join us in our private Zoom room. You will see the link here below. So again, we're posting the Zoom link right now below. Property specialists will be there to help you. So again, please take a look at our chat box to find those out. In the meantime, please watch this very short video. Again, thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful discussion, Carl and Monica. That was a truly interesting discussion. I hope that all those who've joined us here today have learned a lot from our guest speakers. Now, if you want to watch the presentation, again, no problem. We were on Facebook Live. You can just rewatch the presentation to pick up the key insights that they've shared. But the key insight really here is that, you know what, you can be cautiously optimistic for the economy to be on the rebound and approach pre-pandemic levels. By as soon as the first half of 2024, if we're able to really rein in this Delta variant. And at the same time, we'd like to remind you that Aboitizland has got perfectly positioned properties all over the country, particularly in Cebu, in Central Luzon, and of course in Batangas. And if you get right now, you've got very special promos. Remember, as long as there's a great area where infrastructure is improving, like in Batangas, like in Central Luzon, like in Cebu, these are great places to be. And Aboitizland is perfectly positioned right now in these different areas. You've seen the great property appreciation from all the developments. Please take advantage right now because, like Monica said, waiting is the highest form of investment that you might lose out on if you don't invest right now. So again, if you want to review what was discussed, you'll find the broadcast here on the Aboitizland Facebook page. And if you are interested in any of the properties that you saw earlier on, you can go back to Facebook or visit aboitizland.com. You may also join us right now. Again, please join us right now on the Zoom room. You'll find the links below the screen. And that is it for me. Thank you so much. I know it's happening here and around the globe. It's not easy for all of us. But as they say, there's always a silver lining in every crisis. The important thing is that we grow resilient and we move forward, we innovate, we pivot, and we progress. Our growth should never end. Again, thank you so much for having me. My name is RJ Ledesma. Have a great morning, have a great evening, have a great afternoon ahead. Mabuhay. Thank you.
A reliable property developer with over 25 years of experience. Backed by a century of heritage. Aboitizland has a proven track record in enhancing the value of land. That means your investment in its residential lots are in capable hands. Booming infrastructure developments leading into emerging urban hotspots. An economic recovery on the horizon. Unbeatable deals and discounts. All signs point to one thing, that the time to grow your investment is today. Invest in residential lots in one of Aboitizland's master planned communities. Because opportunity waits for no one. It's time to grow with Aboitizland.